This is a cubic inch of sound, and over the past week, we all listened to the Star Wars radio drama. The radio drama, not the movie. It was the radio drama. It was really exciting. My name is Luke, and I don't wear a hat anymore.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm Nick, and I fell over while running today.
I'm Kevin, and I experienced the story of LA Rush and this audio drama at the same time.
My name
Seems
is
like a
Dan,
bad way of doing
and
it.
I also don't wear hats that much.
My name's Connor, and I am part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
Traitor
Gonna
to
take
the
him
Rebel
away.
Alliance, or just a traitor to
No.
Take
It's
it
the
away.
Empire?
yeah, traitor to the Empire. Yeah,
Okay.
Imperial Senate. It's the James Earl Jones line.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we all got it.
Cool.
No, wait, don't you mean not James Earl Jones? It's Brock Peters.
Oh, and no,
Good
they actually
point.
don't say it in this one. I was gonna bring that up, but they cut that. He says something slightly different.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they're not real fans, huh? We should have had you made this thing.
I bet they don't even like Star Wars.
I've never seen the movie. I've only ever listened to the radio drama. I didn't even know there was a movie.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Luke.
Well, to
did
be
you say
fair,
that you
most
had a
Star Wars
friend?
fans don't
Didn't you have
actually
a
like
friend
Star
who had
Wars.
only played like Lego Star Wars, not actually seen the movies?
I had a friend who suggested that we play I suggested that we play Lego Star Wars, and then she said okay, but she hadn't actually ever watched the movies.
Oh.
That's interesting. That's a fun fact.
It wasn't that fun.
It's slightly
All
interesting.
right, so let's get started, huh?
let's
Starting
do it.
with episode 1, which sounds weird because it sounds like we're talking about the Phantom Menace, but no, just like the first episode of the first part of the radio drama. We don't have to split it into episodes, really.
Yeah, because I watched
Um,
everything in one. I didn't.
Yeah,
Same
I think
here.
probably
Yeah,
watched
did
the
I.
episode.
Well, I split it into
Okay.
two, technically.
Uh, So it starts on Tatooine. The first like 20 minutes or so are all just random extraneous Tatooine stuff that didn't actually happen in the movie, but some of them were deleted scenes. Not all of them, because they didn't want to have all these scenes going.
And let me just say
What'd you guys
that
think of
was
these?
my favorite part of the audio drama. Was just when everyone was just like chilling on Tatooine. I'm not even joking. I really liked that.
I like how
I don't
they
know.
on Luke all the time.
Yeah, I feel like in the actual original cut they were going to have the scene with Biggs and everything, where that actually added motivation for why Luke wanted to do what he does. And
What was the
everything, and
scene
kind of
with
developed his
Biggs,
character.
Connor? Explain.
This one, no, it was cut from the final version. Basically, like in the original, there was supposed to.
What
be,
was the scene?
And
Yeah,
it was
what was
just
the
like
scene?
it was just Luke and Biggs like walking at Tashi Station and like talking about stuff. And that way, when Luke later on in the movie is like Biggs and they hug and stuff, you're not like,
Yeah.
who is this? But so this kind of took that to the next level, But to me, it didn't add all that much. It was kind of like, all right, cool. But it seemed to just like be like, and Luke is a good pilot.
No, I really liked
all right, time
Biggs
to-
as like a best friend. Like he was a real one. I really liked Biggs, and it made me actually like. I was actually sad when he died. Like before it happened, I knew he was gonna die in the movie, but
Yeah.
in both of them. I actually looked up on Google like what happens to Biggs. I just wanted to make sure like please make it out of the Death Star. Dude, I loved Biggs. Biggs was awesome.
I
Yeah,
really
pour
like
one
the
out for my
bully
man
figure.
Biggs.
I really
Who's a
like
real
the
one?
bully figure on Tatooine, Fixer. The guy just always picked on Luke. Like that guy had the funniest voice. Like him and Han Solo had similar voices in this. But like I was kind of laughing. whenever
Han
he was
Solo's
talking.
voice.
We'll
Yeah,
get
that
to
was an
that.
interesting
Yeah.
Yeah. But the bully, funny
yeah.
guy.
Well,
I do think that the big stuff was honestly pretty good. I liked that scene. It makes sense to show Luke being a pilot before he just like jumps in an X-wing halfway through.
Yeah.
And I think in the movie they kind of talk about it a lot just to justify that, and it makes enough sense. I've never really had too big of an issue with that. But it's cool to see.
As someone who really enjoys reading like extended universe, kind of like little tidbits and just like world building in Star Wars, I would be if I watched like a whole episode of this and it was just like the Tatooine stuff. Like I don't know. I feel like it would just be very unfulfilling. Like I finish it, and I'm like, all right, that was just Luke Skywalker getting like his just bullied to heck. I just feel like it establishes his character, and then he just later on like has a different character, so it's kind of just like weird.
Well, no, it's because they were like
Who
putting him
does?
down, and then he showed them at the end. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
What
Luke is
yeah,
awesome. I love Luke.
What
He's
was the
cool.
nickname they gave him?
Aw.
Like,
Thanks.
Was it like Worm or something? They get kept
Yeah,
calling
Worm. Yeah.
him?
Something like that, yeah. Kind of rude.
Not in the most pleasant term.
And then there was some stuff about Leia.
That was neat. I kind of like that.
I really enjoyed the whole Leia.
I was
origin.
completely lost throughout that whole thing, but it was probably because I was racing in LA Rush.
It's also a little bit confusing because it kind of goes back in time for a bit.
Yeah.
Because in the Tatooine part we see or we hear obviously Luke mentions that he sees a battle going on overhead, and like it's pretty clearly supposed to be the battle that is the opening scene of the movie. And then we get to Leia and she's not doing that. You know, she's doing other stuff on Alderaan or whatever.
Whole other planet, not even some random war-torn planet.
Yeah, I forgot the name, but like Bail Organa
yeah.
was there.
No, it was called Alderaan or whatever, which is different from Alderaan.
There was some guy named Lord Tyon who died.
Yeah, you
He's
got to
always
remember
hitting
there's
on
Alderaan, Alderan, and then it just goes on, and then there's
Don't forget
El Dorado.
Eldorado. Yeah, I thought it was really funny the way they had Tyon come to dinner with Bail and Leia Organa as like the racist uncle at Thanksgiving, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come hunt the wildlife and stuff and just kill things." And Bail Organa is like, "So how about the Death Star?" And it's just like a really weird, awkward
He
conversation.
was getting mad that whole time. Like, unreasonable. Well, it was like reasonable because he was kind of a dirtbag, but she was just like really messing with like the mission, like really testing fate there. And then I got confused because did they like mess with the audio as like a trap or something? Because I think I missed something.
What do you mean?
Because it sounded like the dad or whatever died, and then he
Oh
didn't.
yeah, I thought that at first too. Then I'm like, oh no way, they just killed Ty.
Yeah, were they messing with the audio? Was that like a big brain plan, or did I miss something important that he didn't die? Because it sounded like he got shot by the other dude. But
no,
no,
they shot Tyon.
yeah, it sounded like that the dad died. I don't know.
Because
No,
like
he
Leia
died.
screamed, and it kind of seemed like a scream of like loss for a second,
Yeah, and
And
she
then,
kept like saying like,
and
his
then she's
name or
like, "Oh
whatever.
no!" And it's like, "Oh no!" She's just sad that she killed a man, not that her father's dead. And, like it took me like 30 seconds to realize what happened. There.
Yeah,
Same.
I kind of
Yeah,
always interpreted it as like oh, she's she just took a life. She's kind of like, oh god,
And we heard just like Leia scream at first, and I think that it was kind of going for like, oh, you don't know who died, but I think it was
Yo,
pretty
just like a
obvious
Cupid
to me,
Kitchen
at
Town
least.
finale of season 1.
Yeah, exactly. All the good people use that trope.
Even the West.
Also, so it's the Tantive 4. That's what the ship is called.
They called it the Tantive V in this,
yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it's the Tantive 4.
I've always said.
I've also always said Tantive.
Okay,
never
I'm glad
actually
to know I'm not
pronounced
an
the
idiot.
name.
Yeah, it took me a couple times to figure out what exactly they were actually saying, because I was like, wait, what is Tantive? I
No,
thought
I
they
know
were
what
saying
they're
like V is in version 4, but I was like confused as to
The
why they
Tantive
were saying.
V4.
Wait,
Yeah,
is-
that's what I thought they were saying.
Wouldn't
Oh,
it
that'd
be
actually be
5
pretty
as a
cool.
Roman numeral, or am I dumb?
V is 5 in Roman. It's 1.
So why
one
why,
V.
why do I call it the Tantive 4?
It's IV
Because
one
it's-
before 5.
Oh, that's weird.
Roman numerals are fun.
Yeah, they're very strange.
They were
What else
harder
happened with
to-
Leia? There was like, she went around to like a bunch of different places, and she didn't like this guy who wanted to date her, or something.
The Darth Vader voice
overall-
was really bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
Overall, I really enjoyed. This is kind of like the whole thing. This felt much more like a fantasy adventure
Yeah, it
than the
felt like
original
so-
movie did. Like it's about the original is like a space opera, right? It's kind of supposed to be like a
Yeah.
fantasy derived, but it always kind of got overridden by the sci-fi, which of course like I'm still a fan of it, everything. But this felt much more, like oh, there's a princess, in like an arranged marriage, and she's like trying to
Mhm.
advocate for, it felt like much more grounded to the original source material that George Lucas kind of based everything off of, and I really
think-
enjoyed that aspect.
Yeah, I think all of like the little side asides in the story like added to that, because like fantasy is like plotting a lot of the time.
Dude, I actually
So
wrote down
there's-
in my notes here, like Star Wars is actually a good adventure. I forgot.
Yeah.
Because at first it's like Star Wars, like it's Star Wars, yeah. But then when I was listening, I'm like, wow, this is like an adventure. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's
And-
engaging.
I feel
don't
like
think
you're always talking
Star Wars
about
is
A New Hope
enjoyable.
in that
Yeah, New Hope
kinda
is my
way.
favorite Star Wars movie. but this I liked parts of this better than the movie.
The
be
extra
honest.
bits did add quite a bit. I will agree on that.
Mhm.
Huh. Honestly, that was not my impression at all. I feel like most of them I'm fine with. Most of them I like seeing, but I don't think that they improve the story at all.
Yeah, that kind of like there are some parts that I think are definitely kind of like the whole weird argument where Han Solo is just an ardent capitalist and that's like his whole thing and he talks about it for a long time. I was like, all right, where's this going? But I don't know. I
They
think a lot of
established
it is
that
just like better
pretty well in the
characterization.
movie, and they didn't need a monologue about the.
Han Solo, dude.
He's like, I
His
love
voice.
money and money's all I want. Give me money. And then
I
Han
really
Solo's
did like
voice
that.
was so
Great
bad,
dialogue.
in my
I
opinion.
didn't like Han Solo's voice, but I did actually really like the argument. Like, this is kind of getting ahead. But, like, if we're talking about the same argument towards the end, where like they're trying to convince Han to stay, like I actually really like that bit because like actually,
Yeah, I
like,
thought that was pretty good.
they got like actually angry and like emotional. Like it added a bit more weight when he came back at the end. Like they kind of gloss over that bit in the movie a little bit, and I thought that was neat to see.
Han
Yeah,
in
it was
this
cool.
story, he wasn't like a charming jerk. He was just like an annoying jerk.
yeah,
think
it
that's
was
because
weird.
Harrison
That's because of
Ford.
Harrison Ford's face.
It was
Sex
weird
icon.
because
Yeah.
it is Boshek, right? I know a few days ago we had talked about who the
Yeah,
Corellian was,
Boshek.
but so in Mos Eisley Cantina, he first asked Boshek, who is another Corellian, like,
Who's
"Hey,
he?
do you have any other Corellians who have ships that I can ride on?" And Boshek is like, "Oh, Han Solo's sitting over there," But so like so Boshek was like super nice, and he's like, "Oh, I would if I could, pal, but I'm already booked. But you can find a guy over there." And then Han Solo's like, "Yeah, I want 20,000 up front."
I like how Greedo's speech, like his whole speech, is just literally taken from the movie. I think it was like the same audio clip.
Yeah, I was waiting for McClunky.
And there's only one shot, which
Yeah, it's almost like
Oh,
it was
true.
originally like that.
I didn't hear his neck snap from his digitally edited head.
Oh yeah, so for context, I think that this was in 81, I
yeah,
want to say.
Mhm.
So
I
this
thought it
was
was 80.
this was made between
Oh,
5
81.
and 6.
yeah,
Yeah,
81.
this was
So
this was
they
81.
they had all of Empire Strikes Back figured out, but I think they hadn't really started script writing for
So, You could kind of tell.
episode
they-
6.
You could kind of tell they knew Vader was his dad, but they didn't know Leia was his sister.
Yeah, that was
Definitely.
Okay, so that was like my main complaint. And I talked earlier about Luke's character. I was like, oh, I don't think Luke's character is as good. It's because, like, so early on, he's very clearly like, I want to get off this planet. I want to do something, but I
Mhm.
love my family and I want to keep them safe. And that was pretty good. Like, in the movie, you see him, like, he's traumatized by Beru and Owen's death. And he's like, you know what? I need to get these guys back. And it's that kind of like initial vengeance that ends up, but he eventually goes to the light side. It's really cool. This one, he mentions like it was at least 6 times where he's like, "I'll do it for Princess Leia. She's so hot." And every time they look at the hologram, he's like, "She's so beautiful." Like he just, it's so unbelievable. And so it's really weird that he's just simping for Leia, and that's why he goes on the adventure.
Well, like,
He
Leia
did
goes-
want revenge against Vader, specifically.
Yeah, he did get
Also,
back.
what I thought was really weird was, Ben Kenobi was just like, "You're right about that, Luke." To be
Oh
honest.
yeah.
Bruh. Oh, actually, I liked Ben Kenobi's voice. I thought that was fun.
Oh, he was sick. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He did a
Like, it
good,
wasn't
like,
the same, but I
Alex
think he
Guinness
captured like the old hermit, like
Yeah.
magical wizard dude,
I
like pretty
agree.
damn.
That's
There
what
were
I'm
a
going
couple-
for too.
There were a couple moments in there. I don't remember exactly which ones, but there were a couple moments in there where it just like felt a little shocking to me, like his voice. I don't, but most of the time, I was not upset with that at all. And it was really
Yeah.
cool that Mark Hamill and Anthony Daniels were both
Yeah,
playing their characters.
Dang it.
Yeah,
I was gonna make
yeah.
a joke about that. I was gonna say, is it just me or does Luke have a really good voice actor?
Yeah,
I'm glad you were
Harrison
able to make
Ford-
that joke.
Can't believe Harrison Ford
Oh.
chose Indiana Jones over this. Like, what the
Language,
Yeah.
Daniel.
there were weird there were weird parts around where Ben shows up that I don't like. They were just like it was just things that stood out to me. Like when C3PO like is kind of showing up and first talking to people, they like really drive home the joke of like 3CPO for like no
Yeah.
reason. It must have been new back then, so they really like doubled down on it. But like he just like is very different. Where like at the beginning he keeps going, he's like, "Hi, I'm 3CPO, human relations droid," and then for like
Did
which
you-
is different from his typical thing, and then he finally switches
that on
into human
purpose?
cyborg
Was that-
relations.
No,
No, because he switches
Connor.
back into the normal one. What?
No, you just messed up his
Am
name.
I messing it up? Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, that was something that Zach said.
yeah,
CPO?
He said something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a
Consistently?
CP30 was
Yeah, CP3O was what Zach said.
yeah.
There's so many ways to mess it up.
Yeah,
Possibilities are endless.
One thing that I thought was cool. So we see part of when Leia actually like gets the plans from the rebels, you know, which we never
Mhm.
see in the movie.
yeah.
They specifically mention Operation Skyhook, which I don't know if this was something that was in the script, like something that George Lucas had originally come up with, but this would end up being used in the EU, and this is what they called it when like Kyle Katarn got the plans to the Death Star and stuff. So that was really cool.
Oh,
And
that
it
is
was
totally-
like,
yeah.
Get it all with Rogue One.
No, not in the slightest.
no,
Oh, but
but that's fine.
Oh,
There
because
can
they,
be
like-
two continuities.
Yeah.
speaking of Vader, we weren't actually speaking of Vader. I just want to say this. Every time he force chokes someone, he says a pun. And-
Wait, seriously?
No, every single time, and I'm like, dude, I thought it was a little out of character in Rogue One when he did a pun, but every single time in this audio drama, he said something. Like I didn't write them
that's
down, but it was
Little
so
Orphan Annie.
funny.
Darth Vader is considerably less threatening in
It was
in this
so
one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but my least favorite part was the interrogation. I do
Oh,
not
that
know
was so
how they
weird.
tortured
Yeah.
Leia
It
to
was
get the
so
information.
dumb. It
But
was
I wrote down a few of the Vader quotes because they're hilarious, and I'll try my best to do a really bad impression of them. But he
Oh,
please
like
don't.
there was one point he was like, "All right, I'm gonna try and do the like empathetic, like I'm your," so he's like, "I am your friend." But then every time he said Rebel Alliance, he would enunciate every syllable. So he was like, "Rebel Alliance." But then at one point, it was just the best like 30 seconds of the whole thing. He's like, "Pain, your world is nothing but pain." And then one of the officers like stumbles into the room and he's like, "Lord Vader, is anything wrong?" And he's like, "No, get out!" And he just like flips out. It was just, I just really overall hated the interrogation. It felt super,
Well, I,
you know.
this
Always
whole thing, it
awkward when
really,
an Imperial
it-
officer walks in on you, you know?
yeah. Well, this whole thing really contextualizes why all of the generals are bullying Vader so much in A New Hope. Why they're always making fun of him for being a Sith.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's a
It's
total
also weird
loser.
because yeah, during that first part of the interrogation, he also like pretends to be Bail Organa and he tells Leia that he's her father. And that's just 100% true. And even the writers didn't know that, you know?
Oh, they were like, oh man, wouldn't it be super crazy if Vader was Leia's father? And then they all had a big old laugh about it while Brock Peters said, I am your friend.
But speaking of Vader, and this is actually, you know, we did actually talk about Vader before. They call him the Dark Lord of the Sith in this, which is really cool and really interesting because this was in the script and
Yeah.
stuff, but they never say the word Sith in the actual original trilogy.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing until the prequels.
Yeah, over like just a brief tie back. Like part of what felt like such a like fantasy element was there was a lot more like nepotism or like because I know like Lord Tyon is like a lord and he was like, oh, I'm just because I'm from like a lesser house or something, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait, is there just like titles in the Star Wars galaxy? And so like the fact that they also acknowledge that Vader had a certain role in the Empire and in the Sith and stuff like that kind of played into everything.
Yeah, that's true. I also like the scheming Imperial officers throughout, like always trying to get Tarkin to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
That was
fun.
really cool.
The really
See,
weird
when
thing. Sorry, Luke, you got.
I was gonna say when Timothy Zahn was writing Heir to the Empire as like the sequel to the original trilogy, you know, he wanted to explain the whole Dark Lord of the Sith thing, and he almost wrote that in as there being a species called the Sith that Vader is the lord of them. And then George Lucas was like, no, I want to explain that in the prequels, don't touch it. So he called them the Nogri instead.
Then they kind of loop back to that, saying how the Sith originated from a species called the Sith. Kinda. If sorta. It was weird.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on in Star Wars.
Yeah. My continuity question here was like, so in 81, I don't think we knew that Vader was Anakin, but I don't think we knew that he was from Tatooine, right? But they spend like a long amount of time when they're above Tatooine. He's like, this miserable dust ball of a planet. I hate this place. This place is awful.
I wrote that down because every single character, whenever Tatooine was mentioned, they're like, why would we go there? That place that sucks. Why? And everyone was just like trash talking Tatooine.
Connor, it is implied because Uncle Owen mentions like, or no, I think it's Obi-Wan talks about Owen not wanting Anakin to go fight in the war, and it's implied that like Anakin and Owen lived together, you know, that they were like actual brothers and stuff, which ended up kind of getting retconned. And by kind of, I mean definitely.
Yeah.
See, you could make that argument. Also, just everyone hates Tatooine.
Maybe in Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Maybe in Obi-Wan we'll see Owen and Vader just living together for a bit, and then something else gets Vader involved, and that's why Owen's all mad at him.
Yeah, I bet.
Obi-Wan literally stealing or scamming.
Yeah,
they're trying to sell Luke's land speeder, which in the movie it is implied that happens, but it's 100% off screen. In this one, we see the salesman guy is just like unable to go for the price that they need, and so Obi-Wan Jedi mind tricks him. It's like that's a little bit messed up, but then it's okay because he says afterwards to Luke, he's like, "Oh, I would only do that if it was 100% necessary," you know. That's what he said.
I don't know, in KOTOR that would give you like very slight dark side points, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only does it if he really wants to.
Yeah. You know, I noticed in this audio drama, R2 made some sounds that sounded a lot like T3M4. I think they got their audio sounds from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic from 2003.
Also, R2 at one point, he goes onto the hull of the Tantive V4, and that's obviously not something that happens in the original trilogy, but it's something that happens in The Phantom Menace, so I thought that was cool. Maybe George Lucas just had it in his head, like, oh, droids go on the hull of the ship to like repair things, you know.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like which ideas were forming this early in Lucas's mind about the whole series.
Yeah,
like the Sith and everything like that.
It's like baby Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
When the stormtroopers go down to Tatooine and they're investigating the escape pod and they're trying to figure out what happened with C-3PO and R2-D2, they don't say, "Look, sir, droids," and I was really upset about that.
Yeah.
I was also looking out for that line and never heard it, and I was kind of bummed.
"Look, sir, droids."
Look,
they're like, we found a servo on the ground.
That's so weird. How did he lose a whole servo?
I don't think it was a servo. They like dropped something.
it was just like a
Wasn't
little
it like
servo motor.
It was like a bolt or something.
Nice.
Maybe. Wouldn't it be funny if that was like a really important piece and it just like fell apart later?
That's why he got blown up in the trench run. He wouldn't normally do that, but because he dropped that piece, he was just so fragile.
Yes. Speaking of droids blowing up, in the movie, Luke tries to buy a different droid at first, R5. You know, he's gonna get the little red one, but oh no, this droid has a bad motivator and he blows up, and it's like, why did that happen? Maybe it was because of the Force? You know, maybe that droid was actually Force sensitive, and he knew that blowing himself up would actually would actually save the universe. In this one, it's just explicitly shown that R2 completely messed with him, and I love that.
I literally wrote in my notes, "Rip Skippy the Jedi droid." I really miss that motivation where a force-sensitive droid sacrificed himself to get R2 in Luke's possession. No, this R2 was just a jerk and just blew him up. I guess also
Imagine being a droid and just like murdering another droid.
in cold
It's
blood.
probably similar to murdering another human.
Yeah, it's not
Oh
that
yeah.
bad.
One thing I actually really cool thing that I noticed was Leia is like you need to get this to like the Rebel Alliance at all costs. So like ignore all self-preservation restrictions and stuff like that. And I think obviously the fact that R2's mind was never wiped and stuff like that means that he's kind of like a wild guy in the original trilogy, and he can just like
Yeah,
do
like
crazy.
me.
But here, it literally like it canonized it as like, no, Leia was like, do whatever you want, bro. Like ignore all your restrictions, and R2 was like, let's go, and just like blew up like R5 and stuff.
That's what God said to me before I was born.
Ignore self-preservation restrictions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing you've made it this far without
I
even
know.
trying to stay alive.
It's because I have a mission. I need to deliver some
Okay.
data tapes to the Rebel Alliance. I haven't found them yet, so
So what was it, like 2
Maybe
hours?
one day they'll
on
email us
Tatooine?
at cubicinchsound@gmail.com.
So is
Yeah,
Tatooine like
hopefully.
2 hours or something? How long was it?
something
It was like
that. It was a while.
It was like 2.5 hours before they got off. If I remember correctly.
And
There's
then
a whole movie's worth of Tatooine.
they go to the Death Star.
They were there for like an hour or so.
No, I'm not ready to talk about the Death Star yet.
Oh, okay.
It was weird when Obi-Wan was talking. He was telling Luke about like his father and stuff. And when they see the hologram with Leia, he talks about Leia. He like introduces her as like, oh, she's an Imperial senator. She's doing really well and all that. It sounds a lot like he knew her beforehand. Like not just knew her because he knew of her, but like actually knew her, which obviously is the case because of retcons, but back then they didn't know that, and that's kind of weird. I thought it was fine.
Would it be more disturbing if they did know that Leia was his sister at that point? Like the writers of this?
I think it would be worse. I think it would be a lot worse,
Pen was
considering
just
how much.
trolling Luke.
I remember like I was looking and then it was just like, here's a kiss for luck, and I'm like, oh no.
Didn't they do that in the movie?
I don't think they kissed while they were swinging across the chasm. She just
I
said
think they
good luck.
did.
No,
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
she did,
they-
but she didn't make a big deal about it.
I
They did
don't
like
think
8 times in the. Well, that's a lot. They did like 3 times in the audio drama, and I'm like, stop kissing for luck. It's weird.
It's just an 80s thing. Like in Gen Z, we don't kiss for luck, but back then it was just like, every 20 seconds you'd kiss someone else. Just, so they have like good luck.
They used to do
Yeah,
that
I
as
always
soon-
kiss the
that's saying
homies
bless
for
you.
luck.
That's
When you sneeze, they kiss them. So a kiss for luck.
I hate that. Please don't.
I did just so in the movies they never kissed
yeah.
at all.
Sure.
What?
Yeah.
I swear
No.
they did.
No, they do.
What
Kevin's
about in
right.
the Lego
Wait,
game?
seriously?
Yeah, no, yeah.
But
In
did
a
it do
new,
it in the
wow,
Lego
this is
game?
crazy. Wait.
A New Hope's
One
funny.
thing that I thought was actually really cool,
Yeah.
and this is going to be a whole tangent. This is going to be an entire tangent. My least favorite scene in the versions of A New Hope that you can buy is the Jabba the Hutt scene, because originally this was a deleted scene. They filmed the scene where Greedo, comes up to Han and he threatens him and he tells him like, "Oh, Han, you can't keep dropping shipments and stuff," and then Han kills him. And they also filmed another scene where Jabba the Hutt would come up to him, except Jabba the Hutt was just like a guy. He was literally just a dude.
A rotund
Um,
Scottish man.
Yeah. And, threatens him, but kind of less. It doesn't seem to care that much, which is weird. I don't know. Maybe they're just, kind of good friends. George Lucas would end up deciding we need to bring that second scene in, even though not only does it not add anything, and doesn't really make much sense, and doesn't really work with the characterization of Jabba the Hutt, I mean, he's a guy who like sends people to do things, you know, but you're telling me he showed up in person. He left his palace just to hang out in front of the Millennium Falcon to threaten Han Solo for no reason?
Wasn't he speaking English in the audio drama? I forget.
It wasn't Jabba.
Well,
it was another
yeah, it wasn't
character who
Jabba.
worked-
Oh,
I was
okay,
gonna
yeah.
get to that, but thanks for
I'm sorry.
It's just a really
There's no
bad scene. The CGI is awful. It's horrible. They repeat dialogue from the Greedo scene because they only intended to have one of those scenes in the actual movie. In the radio drama, they change it. It's some dude named Heater instead. And Heater is just like a random other dude who works for Jabba. And it makes
scary.
more sense why Jabba would send, you know, some other random guy to do his dirty work. They don't repeat the dialogue. They kind of give us a little more characterization for Han and this random Heater guy who never comes back. And I liked that. So overall, I approve of the radio drama scene.
Cool.
I, for some reason, like listening to that the first time, got really confused because, like, I, you know, had seen the deleted Jabba scenes before, and it was just that, and I was like, wait, but this isn't Jabba, and for some reason, it just like broke my brain. I was like, what is going on? And I never listened through it. I was like, Heater, what? And, yeah, it was definitely like way better than the original deleted scene, but still just kind of weird. Like, I feel like you would send one guy, and kind of if he dies, maybe be like, uh-oh, you know.
Well, for some
know-
reason in this, they explained that Heater had sent Greedo, and Greedo wasn't supposed to actually kill Han, but then he, like, threatened him, and that's why Han killed Greedo.
Yeah.
So
oh, yeah,
Greedo was
true.
just an idiot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. You know, in the audio drama, they forgot the part where the walkie-talkie guy summons like a bunch of stormtroopers, and you have to take
What are
them
you
out.
you can't just say that with no context.
The Lego boss.
No, but, like, are you gonna explain it at all?
No.
Cool. Glad we agreed to give more context because you can
Yeah.
tell
Okay.
we're
So
really
you know, in
good.
the Lego game, there's like a walkie-talkie guy, and he summons a bunch of stormtroopers right before the Millennium Falcon is taking off. And I made a joke that it wasn't in the audio drama because it wasn't. It was in the Lego game.
No, but Kevin, I'm just saying you can't just say the radio guy from the Lego game. Nobody knows what that means. Okay, I know what that means because I've played Lego Star Wars 2 like a million times.
Dude,
but a
I've been
normal
friends with the
person
radio guy
hasn't.
for years. I had dinner with his wife the other day. No, wait, that's and I meant to be like we had a dinner of like our family and stuff. But it
No,
sounds
yeah,
like
I
I'm
know that
now,
guy. His
and
wife's
now it sounds
cheating
like
on
I'm,
him with
like,
me.
cucking the radio.
I bet you don't even know his name, the Imperial Spy.
It's Jim.
I think it's Gurinden.
You gonna prove me wrong, huh?
It's
Yeah, no, I think Connor's right here.
yeah, it's Gurinden. It has
Well,
Dan
you know,
in
I
the
was
name.
close. So
Yeah.
Jim for short.
There's like a little bit. Some of the letters are the same.
I didn't take any notes on the Death Star segment. Did you guys?
I took some. Oh yeah, the Falcon was being pulled in by the tractor beam, and they're like, fire off a few escape pods, and I'm like, what? How many escape pods does the Millennium Falcon have?
I thought they
Wasn't
lost
that in the
Han
movie
Solo.
though?
Was it?
I mean, they mentioned firing off the escape pods.
How
We
many
don't see
does-
it.
They sent off a few. Like, where are they?
Well, remember we see the little one in Last Jedi that like Rey uses.
Yeah, I tried to
get
forget.
supremacy.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So they
No,
had
I
like
don't remember
tiny
what Dan's
coffin-sized escape pods.
It's very claustrophobic.
Yeah, but like it looked
Plus-
well cushioned, so I couldn't complain.
The 2004 Lego version of the Millennium Falcon has one of the like docking ports on the side where the ramp isn't is just like an escape pod, like a whole escape pod.
Oh. Guess it's
Yeah,
canon.
really making deep cuts here to the 2004 Lego Millennium Falcon.
I wrote Alderaan ain't there anymore. I don't know why.
Oh, I think
Does
it's because
happen.
they blew
That's
it
a plot
up.
point.
It's actually a scene where they blow up Alderaan.
What?
I think I missed
Yeah.
How
that.
do they have that much firepower?
I don't think
It
they
was
did
actually
that.
this
I think that's
giant
fake.
super weapon
Like-
called the Death Star, and it has the ability to blow up an entire planet.
No space
And also,
station.
it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like a basketball going through hyperspace.
Oh, it was so funny. Like earlier on in like the beginning, like Leia scenes when they're on that date and they're like, "Where did you hear that name?" Because Leia mentions the Death Star, because they're trying to like get information out of him, but he had never actually said the codename Death Star,
Mhm.
and then it just gets really weird after that. He's like,
Yeah.
"What? I never said that. What?"
Again,
Leia's like,
feels like
"What are you talking about? I didn't say anything."
it feels like most of the plot that happened here was because the male characters were simping for Leia. Like she's like, "Oh, do you have like a really big super
You
weapon
don't
project you're working
understand.
on?"
Leia's
And he's
so
like,
hot,
"Yeah."
To be fair, this
It
was
is-
a different time. It was the 70s. You know, Carrie Fisher was the best they had back then.
It was
Aw.
weird though. Was it Tarkin or Vader who like for some reason described the entire architecture of the Death Star to Leia?
I don't.
At one
remember.
point, they're like, "And there's this giant dish. That's the main weapon, and it'll blow up the Alderaan."
Oh. I think it was Vader. I mean, that was
Yeah.
obviously just there to fit the radio format.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it was just kind of funny, you know. I guess that raises
Yeah.
the point. Like, is there a? So I personally really liked that they. I don't know. I really enjoyed that the radio drama didn't have like visual. It just felt like very freeing that you could get rid of one of the components and kind of just like let people make their own visuals. It was a lot of fun to just sit through and experience.
Mhm.
But I feel like it's like a weird audience to shoot for in like the early 80s. You know what I mean? Because like probably everyone has seen the movie. So I guess it's cool. It's like it's still a cool experience outside of the movie, but it just felt like weird that you would have to like explain the Death Star. You know, I guess they want it to be its own standalone thing, but like at that point, who hasn't seen A New Hope? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it
People,
doesn't really
apparently.
take away from anything. And
Yeah.
It just like if they didn't describe it, the people who hadn't seen A New Hope would be
Yeah,
like a little confused.
What does the Death Star look like? Is it a sphere with a big dish? Maybe.
No, that's ridiculous. Why would it look like that?
So the Death Star scene is mostly the same, like the whole thing.
The trench scene.
Yeah. They go
No.
into the Death Star, they
Okay,
rescue
yeah.
Leia, they leave the Death Star without Ben Kenobi.
Yeah,
He
most of
stays.
them leave the
He
Death
dies.
Star.
Unfortunate.
Pour another
there was
one out for my
weird
boy
thing
Ben
when
Kenobi.
Ben dies. It was because Vader had to explain what he was doing because he couldn't see it, and he's like, "What?
Yeah.
Why are you saluting?"
And then he in the movie he just like steps on the empty robes and you can kind of see Vader just being like, where did this guy go? Why did he disappear when I
No
thought that I
clips.
killed him? And then in the radio drama he says it out loud. He's like, his robes are empty. What happened?
I would really like to see normal movie Vader all intimidating and terrifying, and then like Ben disappears and is like, "What? Where did Ben go?" And it just kind of
I feel like someone could make that edit online. Just put
That'd be
like,
really
Brock
good, yeah.
Peters lines over a couple of stuff.
Dan, be the
Um,
change you want to see in the world. Do it.
I did really like how when Leia and Luke are like they're flying away from the Death Star, right? And they're kind of having a talk. And in the movie, Luke is just like, "Man, I'm so sad. Ben Kenobi died, and like my aunt and uncle died. It sucks." In this one, they actually mention the fact that Leia's entire planet just got
Yeah.
blown up.
Yeah,
And I really appreciate
and
that.
Leia gave him like a call to action, and that was really cool.
It was a better
Oh.
talk. It was a much better talk.
I don't remember in
wasn't
the
just
actual
Luke
movie.
moping
Did they
about.
mention that was actually Darth Vader, or did he just assume?
Um,
Because Leia's like, "Yeah, that was Darth Vader," and Luke's like, "What? That guy? Oh, I hate him. I hate him. I'm gonna kill him."
Now that I think about it, I don't think Luke knows for a fact that that is Darth Vader. I guess he probably just
yeah.
learned sometime after the movie. What it felt like, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that was really cool in this scene where they were escaping from the Death Star and they were like fighting the TIE fighters and stuff is that they mentioned that the sound is simulated. Han specifically says that the sound is being simulated by the computers of the Falcon, which means that there isn't sound in space. Just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, I did notice that. I thought that was funny that they felt the need to put that in there.
All
I've
the
heard
TIE
a fan
fighters,
theory
like in the
that Star
inside,
Wars
it
takes
just-
place in like a universe where there is
The
sound in
luminous
space and there
frequency.
is just like matter in space.
It's funny.
I kinda
I
like
guess all ships can just recognize, like, oh, that's a TIE fighter. Play the TIE fighter sound.
It'd be really funny if they played the wrong sound every once in a while. It just
Yeah,
starts
they
playing
just
like
he mods his ship.
cantina music.
An air horn noise.
that was one of my favorite parts. Like, the music felt like just the entire score felt more like penetrating, like more. I don't know.
More
It felt more
present?
like immersive. Yeah, it just felt like every time it hit, I would just, oh man, and like ride out just like a really nice wave. But it
Yeah.
felt especially, prominent in the cantina. Like just like the way it built ambiance, like it was just like the music was playing. There were like people boisterously talking. I was like, oh man, I'm in the cantina. Let's go. I'm partying. I'm listening to jazz. So it's not really
Well,
jazz. Really
we all know
I
when
can't
I
listen to
listen
Star
to
Wars
the
music.
Star Wars Cantina Band song.
Dude, I can't get immersed in Star Wars music anymore.
What?
Lego Star Wars has ruined that for me. I remember at one point, I even wrote this down because it was so jarring. I heard like the level end music.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah, it's like
and I'm like,
after they
I can
blow up
imagine,
the
like,
Death
the
Star.
stud
like-
sound, like counting up the studs. It's ruined. Or
I think it's
enhanced.
kind of funny. Or like in episode 2, when Yoda makes the sound that would later become the Yoda death sound. I wish that wasn't such a meme. No, I
yeah.
don't. I changed my mind.
So after the Death Star, they fly to the Rebel base, and they know that they have a tracker, but they don't care.
Yeah, they
And-
pretty much. I mean, this was the same in the movie. They're just like, if we can blow up the Death Star fast enough, it doesn't matter. We have to do this. This is the only chance we have. But it feels like they spend a lot more time on Yavin 4 in this one because they have Luke go into a flight simulator to test
Yeah.
whether or not he should
Yeah.
fly an X-Wing.
Oh, dude, it seems
He only died
like
twice.
they didn't have a lot of time. They all knew they're like Han knew he had like 10 minutes to leave, and he's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for my money. I'm gonna go take a shower. Oh, yeah, Death Star's gonna blow up this planet in like 20 minutes. I'm just loading up my cargo. Yeah, everybody. And it's like he was super chill that he knew that this planet was gonna blow up in like very soon. And like he didn't agree with what everyone was doing and he wanted to leave, but I feel like in this moment he wasn't that much of a jerk. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And he was kind of chill until people told him that he was wrong.
Yeah, then you kind of.
It's hard to completely blame him for not wanting to get
Yeah.
involved in this war, you know?
And I liked how he was looking out for Luke. He's like, Luke, he's done enough. He doesn't have to do this. Tell him he's just gonna die.
Yeah.
And Luke's like, no, I'm a hero. And he was.
How is he
I
gonna
like
get
to
more
imagine
kisses
that when they
for
put-
luck if he doesn't do crazy, dangerous stuff?
That's why he does it. It's what gets him up in the morning.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
they put Luke into that flight sim, I think they just had him play the DOS X-Wing game.
Yeah. And then he
It's a really-
comes out
really
of
good
it. He's
game,
like,
by the way.
woohoo, what a ride. And I thought that was a funny quote that I wrote down. And then Leia shows up and starts telling him that he should like give up. And he's like, what? Aren't you gonna congratulate me? And I thought that was funny for
Or
getting like
maybe
a high
Luke
score or
was
whatever.
playing the Star Wars Battle Pod available
Yeah,
at your
no, that's
local
what I was
Dave and
imagining when you
Buster's.
said
Oh my god! Yeah.
I was imagining the battle pod.
I hate that game. That's not fun.
Oh, I've never even tried it.
I played it. I
What? You're completely
You
cutting out
gotta,
for me.
you gotta.
Oh no. Darth Vader.
We know that he played it.
All right. Well, you played it.
I was
Uh,
gonna say that of the Star Wars like fly the
it wasn't
DOS,
that good. Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The DOS flight sims are like top tier, and then you've got the Rogue Squadron 2 was pretty good. Rogue Squadron 1 was kind of bad. Star Wars Battle Pod is low tier. It's not very fun.
How was that
The
new?
levels in Lego Star Wars 2 are also not fun. They're actually a little bit better in The Force Awakens. Lego Force Awakens, that was the only thing I liked about that game.
Trench Run.
It was cool.
Biggs died. I'm sad.
Yeah, that was sad. I
Luke
They should make
definitely
it cover
like.
Luke.
Death
doesn't
that
die.
much.
What do you say?
Luke he didn't mourn that much, and it was just
No.
like friendship ended with Biggs. Han Solo's my new best friend. It's kind of
Nah, he was thinking about Leia, dude. He
Yeah.
was hurting out. I don't know, I mean that kind of mirrors the movie too, where Luke is like, "Oh, I'm gonna look sad for like half a second. All right, let's."
I
keep
didn't
going."
want it to mirror the movie. I wanted.
No,
he
I
was, like,
I,
a
I
much more
agree.
important
Yeah,
character.
I think it made the audience feel a lot more for Biggs, and then it kind of didn't really pay off with
Yeah.
Luke.
There wasn't really much time for him to be sad, at least during the trench run.
Yeah,
What
no,
if
but
during
it-
like the
it was kinda-
ceremony
yeah,
scene he had given a speech
that-
or something?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was gonna say, like, afterwards, with all the development of their relationship, it seems really strange that he doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
I'd like to dedicate this blowing up of the Death Star to my best friend Biggs.
the whole congratulations scene was very cringe.
When Chewbacca did eyes
Was it?
front. Was the
No.
implication was that all the rebels turned forward because Chewbacca roared?
No, I think they were just like looking at each other because like cardboard or whatever. They're like, how long have they been standing there? No, the
What?
cringe
Wait,
part,
I have no idea what you're saying.
'Cause,
I don't know
in
what
the
I'm saying
movie-
either. That's why I just moved
in,
along.
in the movie, like when they walk in, all the rebels are facing each other, and then like when like at one point when they're walking down the way, they all turn and face the front. And then in the audio drama, Han says, "Hey Chewie, give them an eyes front," and then Chewie says something, and then they say something along the lines that implies that's when they all turned.
Oh,
What did Chewie say though?
He just
Can you
roared.
give us an impression?
Uh,
That was
The
good.
ghost. No, the reason why I thought the whole thing was cringe is that like, Luke and Han were like bickering like the entire time, and I'm like, oh my god, shut up! Like, it was so annoying. And then like even when they were getting the medals, like in the movie, they were like silent the whole time, like accepting them. But then they were just like, they were like messing around with Leia, and Leia was like making fun of them and stuff, and it was just really odd to me.
Have you seen the edit of the movie where they take out the celebration music? So it's just like
Yeah,
it's
I
just the in-universe sounds. It was funny. Very awkward.
I mean, they might have been playing music. It was a ceremony.
Yeah,
I've kind of headcanoned that they were playing the
Yeah.
music that plays. I think
Yeah.
it makes more sense.
it's like
that way.
what was it? Yub Nub at the end of Return of the Jedi.
They were playing Yub Nub while they were presenting the medals.
So is that still canon? They were playing Yub Nub, but they like for the audience they changed the music to like the
I'll accept that. I think that makes sense. Because we do see the Ewoks. This is now getting into completely different territory.
Yeah.
But in Return of the Jedi, we see the Ewoks are playing music even when Victory Celebration is playing in the special editions. George Lucas made a lot of changes to these movies.
Mm.
There's a scene in Empire Strikes Back where in the original cut Vader says like bring my shuttle, and then George Lucas changed it to alert the Star Destroyer to my arrival or something. It's like why did that why did he need to change that?
It's vital
Oh.
to the story.
You wouldn't understand what was happening if he just said bring my shuttle.
Well, yeah. In canon, Vader calls it the Pimpmobile.
It
so
wasn't
it doesn't
his
really make
perfect
sense for
vision.
him to call it the shuttle.
Maybe all those changes were things that Lucas wanted to do, but everybody yelled at him for telling him it was a really bad idea. And at the time, he was like, "I'll show you. I'll change it in post."
No, George, you're insane. Darth Vader has to say bring my shuttle. There's no way he could say something else.
I agree with a lot of the changes that he made though. Like Boba Fett's voice, I like it's way better as the clone voice.
I mean, like it makes sense, but I kind of like the original voice actor.
I don't.
I like.
Yeah,
that
I agree with Dan. It makes more sense in canon, but his
Yeah.
original voice was pretty cool. And it kind
I-
of sucks
Mo-
to the guy who played Boba Fett
Yeah.
to begin with.
It's a good that they fixed Monkey Eyes Palpatine though.
Yeah.
Where in the hologram, for those who don't know, in the theatrical release, Palpatine's eyes looked horrifyingly strange.
They're just kind of like sunken
and
holes
also
into his
the-
face with lights sticking out.
The whole
They look
trench
like
run
little
sequence in A
tubes.
New Hope in the movie was like the special effects really don't hold up at all in the original cut. I don't know if you guys
That's
have
true.
seen the theatrical cut, but
I've seen
I
parts
will
of it,
say,
yeah.
the special edition's a lot better.
The explosion
guess,
of the
but-
Death Star looks stupid in the theatrical cut. It just looks
It was
like
I
a
don't
little
know. It was fine.
Like my
like puppet is
popcorn-
going on.
My
I
popcorn
don't know. I don't like it.
like was in the microwave too long.
What? What do you do to your popcorn?
How do you make it explode?
You turn it on a little too high.
I would hate to go to your house for popcorn. Anyway, so Star Wars, do you guys like it? You a
Yeah.
fan?
I'm a fan.
I
Big
hate
I'm
Star Wars.
on the fence. I'm
I
not sure if Star
never
Wars is
liked
for me.
Star Wars.
I was named after
Star
Luke
Wars will
Skywalker.
never be popular.
Yeah, who
Is that
even-
true?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it
a-
is.
that's
Oh,
what
that's
made
kinda
Star
cool,
Wars
yeah.
good for the
Oh.
first how many years.
Wait, what was true? I missed it.
That's interesting.
Me being named after Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I really enjoy how this is its own distinct thing from the movie. Like, it adds a lot by taking away visuals, and it seems like a much more fantasy-driven plot. It's just a lot more of a time commitment, and I'm not sure. Like it does add stuff, but I do think like the movie is kind of just its own masterpiece. So it's like it's very separate experiences. If you have the time, I would definitely recommend checking it out. But I kind of
It's not a replacement for the movie. It's a neat little supplementary
It's its own
way of
adaptation.
yeah, exactly.
experiencing it. Yeah.
I feel like it could.
Like you can never replace A New Hope.
I feel.
But
like
George Lucas definitely tried. Also, J.J. Abrams definitely tried.
Oh
Yeah.
Am I right?
It's been tried more often than you'd expect.
Yeah, whatever next Disney trilogy comes out, we'll also try and remake episode.
Yeah.
Even if it's not Star Wars.
Do you guys think that they're gonna like retcon the sequels and make a new sequel?
Not
I wouldn't be
for a while,
surprised, but
but maybe eventually.
It's
Yeah.
possible they do some sort of like soft retcon, like very soft retcon, but I really don't think they're going to say the whole thing isn't canon.
I would like to see them just continue to make the content that they're currently making and have it completely contradict the sequels and just don't say anything about it.
Yeah,
And
that-
like
that's-
maybe
that's
no
a
one
good
will
idea.
notice. Honestly, they've already started doing that. Like they've already contradicted things, so who cares? I liked the fact that this was directed by John Madden. I forgot to say that before, but I thought that was really funny.
John
I like-
Madden.
It's really crazy that he was coaching an NFL team and directing a Star Wars radio drama at the same time.
A man of
I
many
really
talents.
Like the fact that the Empire Strikes Back adaptation has John Lithgow as Yoda. This is my favorite thing from this audio drama.
No
What's
idea
the-
who that is. Also, for some
I've heard
reason,
the
yeah.
name.
So there,
but I don't.
Dan just gets stomped on. It's very funny.
so
Great
there
act.
was a radio version of both Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Return of the Jedi one came out like 10 years later. I don't know
weird.
who was waiting 10 years. Like, oh man, I refuse to watch movies, but I really want to see what happens at the end of this.
And
Exactly.
the amount of episodes goes down. The one that we watched for A New Hope is 13 episodes. Then Empire Strikes Back is 10, and then Return of the Jedi is 6.
It's funny.
like-
I just had
It's getting so much shorter.
And total runtime, yeah, like A New Hope is 6 hours. The other two are a little. They're both 4 1/4.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just stumbled upon why Return of the Jedi was 10 years later. It's because it was done by the NPR, which is like a publicly funded radio station, and Reagan cut back the funding, so they couldn't do it.
Oh my
God.
god.
It all comes back to Reagan.
Reagan is the reason it took so long for us to get Return of the Jedi radio drama.
That's
So, yeah.
probably like the worst thing he did, right? And definitely
Pretty
don't
much,
look up
yeah.
other horrible things that Reagan did.
Oh,
Thanks, Ronald.
Yeah, there I was sitting there in like late 1995, and I was, man, I'm really missing out on the Return of the Jedi radio drama. And then Ronald Reagan busted into my house and
Yeah,
and he
I
took
have
my wife out
actually
to dinner.
listened. I have actually listened to all three of them, and I can say that the other two don't really add much, especially Return of the Jedi. Like, you might as well just watch the movies. This is
Yeah.
pretty much the only one that adds a lot of content.
I'd imagine with them being that much shorter.
Yeah.
it was in the Return of the Jedi one? Wow.
I am only now seeing a lot of the like episode names because like again I kind of watched the whole thing just straight. And like it seems like they just go less creative with the episode names as they went along too. Like by the end, you just like Blood of a Jedi, and it's like okay, you know, like I guess that's like a fine chapter name or whatever. But Fast Friends, you know,
You're really
be a
gonna
little more
judge
creative.
them for their
Yeah,
episode names?
yeah, no,
here,
I
Connor?
feel like I'm totally justified.
We're clearly running out of things to say. Any last thoughts? Any
More
final
last
ideas?
I didn't like the Han Solo voice.
Yeah.
we said
I was
that.
going to say I didn't like his voice at first, but the more I listened to it, the more I felt that the guy, like his voice didn't sound like Han Solo, but I think his performance was a pretty good evocation of Han Solo, in my opinion.
I felt like he was doing an impression of the bully from Tatooine Fixer, and then
Yeah.
I felt like Fixer was just stupid.
This is kind of out there, I guess, but so definitely in canon, like all of the human characters are called human, or like in Legends and stuff like that, right? But in the movies, do they ever actually say like human?
No.
I don't think like that was gonna be like they say it a lot in this, like they like Antilles I think said like human beings. A lot of people are just like, oh yeah, humans, and it was just weird to me that like they actually made that.
So, not to go back to the Jabba scene that I hate, but in the Jabba
Oh.
scene, the deleted Jabba scene that was added back into the special editions, Han says, "You're a wonderful human being, Jabba," which is false. He's
Oh.
not a human being.
Yours?
So you have to wonder about that one. I can't explain it.
A notification just popped up on my desktop saying millennials didn't ruin the economy, Reaganomics did. So Reagan is really invading my life right now.
No more final thoughts. I've banned all of them.
Okay.
Okay. My
So
brain
next
is empty.
time, if everything goes well, we'll be doing a very special interview. You'll have to watch out for that one. Really excited, actually.
Same.
Let's hope.
Woo.
Yeah.
I'm the
A new
number
hope.
one fan of this interview.
I might be a bigger fan.
And if there are any suggestions, if there's anyone you want us to interview, then you should email us at acubicinchofsound@gmail.com.
We should interview
Or should
Luke
you?
Campbell.